Well, folks, it's been another week. That means it's time for another awful episode of Ben After Dark. This past week, a science fiction movie started to take shape when the gene testing firm 23andMe filed for bankruptcy in order to facilitate a pending sale. After years of struggling to make money by telling people they were born with an aversion to cilantro, the company is officially calling it quits. I know, shocking. Blindly sending your spit to strangers has proven to be unwise. It turns out that's true, whether you're a normie or a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. But at least we found out from 23andMe that Elizabeth Warren is 1/1024th Native American. That was their great contribution to American politics. If you're wondering, yes, the prospective buyer of 23andMe is not only purchasing the unprofitable brand, they're also getting all the molecular data accumulated over the years. So in some sort of Kubrickian dystopia, not only will a new conglomerate overlord have your entire DNA makeup at their fingertips, you are now also susceptible to cloning.
Begun. The Clone War has.
So get ready to see a second, third, maybe a dumber fourth version of yourself just roaming the streets.
I like pizza. I like it.
We're gonna need a cage.
The news of 23andMe's downfall has turned its customers into Philip K. Dick characters, worried and paranoid about who will soon own their genetic blueprints. Millions of people have rushed to the company's website to feverishly delete their data, despite 23andMe insisting their privacy policy will still be intact. But like parents promising their kids nothing will change after divorce, there's no avoiding that 2 Christmases is weird. So you might be asking, who will buy this sensitive data? What madman is out there looking to clone you or your deceased loved ones, all from just a small amount of collected scientifically engineered DNA, with a plan to create risky theme parks where these creations run free and eventually take over an island? Don't worry, life
Finds a way.
But if you're having some fear over technology and privacy this week, I don't blame you. It appears the government is a lot like your grandma trying to get FaceTime to work. The Atlantic editor-in-chief and journalistic hack Jeffrey Goldberg was accidentally added to a Signal group chat of high-ranking officials to follow along with a sensitive military operation in Yemen. And people want answers. How did this happen? Who is to blame? Who dropped the most fired GIF in the chat? Well, what mainstream media isn't telling you is that this isn't the first time a confidential political group text has found its way into the wrong hands. We here at Ben After Dark have accumulated other examples of this type of accidental inclusion, situations the left don't want you to know about. First up, this discussion between former President Obama and his defense team headed by Secretary of Defense at the time, Ash Carter. This exchange also accidentally included a reporter but got no media attention. I wonder why. It reads, "Hey guys, Barry here. I've been looking for my birth certificate. Have any of you guys seen it?" Very shameful we're able to see this stuff. But again, Republicans weren't the first to do this. We also have a chat between Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries from just last year. They also included a reporter. Chuck asks, quote, "What are we going to do about this Biden thing? There's no way he wins." Hakeem responds and says, "Totally. Earlier today, I saw him eating a shoe and muttering about the White House chef." And then Pelosi, after 5 minutes of a text bubble, just sent this meme. Again, we should not be seeing this. These are serious data breaches, security breaches. How can we be assured that memes like this don't fall into the wrong hands? And lastly, Bill Clinton. It appears he was just a repeat offender while in office. Female reporter after female reporter was included in group chats in the middle of the night that just said, "You up?" We could give him the benefit of the doubt and call it a mistake. A very horny mistake.
That is hot!
My point here is these Republicans aren't the first to have a text flub. They probably won't be the last. It's stupid. Somebody should probably get in trouble. Sure, fine. Again, though, we're focusing on something that didn't cause mass hysteria. Actually, it killed a bunch of bad guys, which is actually the thing many of the Trump opponents are mad about. They're fine with perfect text, but the full surrender of Afghanistan, bad texts and dead Houthi pirates, they are now butthurt beyond belief. Well, none of this is going to work. Nobody really cares very much, but this is the strategy for hamstringing the second Trump administration. What they'll never expect is what comes next. I buy 23andMe and then do this. Clones are not covered by the 22nd Amendment.
They don't have my talent, my money, or especially my good looks. But you know what? They're not bad.
We'll get to more of whatever the hell this is in 1 second. First, let me tell you something. I never realized just how bad my old mattress was until I got my Helix mattress. You know that feeling where you wake up and your back is already complaining? That was me more often than not. Don't even get me started on how my old mattress turned into a heat trap at night. Since switching to Helix, I wake up feeling ready to take on even my busiest days and the craziest headlines. Here's what makes Helix different. They don't believe in one-size-fits-all sleep solutions. Instead, they use their sleep quiz to match you with a custom mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. Whether you sleep hot, need extra support for your back, or share your bed with a restless partner, Helix does have a perfect mattress for you. It's fixed a lot of my sleep issues. I have a firm but breathable mattress, which is what I'm looking for right now. Helix is offering an incredible flash sale for Sleep Awareness Month. Visit helixsleep.com/Ben. Get 25% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/Ben for 25% off site-wide. Again, just visit helixsleep.com/Ben for this exclusive offer. And I have a mattress made by Helix Sleep. It was a quiz made just for me, and it is awesome. Get your own at helixsleep.com/Ben. Also, imagine a scenario where you or your loved ones face a threat. Your first instinct might be to resort to lethal force. It's crucial to consider if there's a safer, less lethal alternative first to avoid legal complications often associated with firearms these days. Introducing Byrna. Byrna's less lethal pistol launcher is equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammo designed to incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes, providing a critical window for you to escape or get help while minimizing the risk of permanent harm. Here's a real-life account from Byrna customer named Adam. He was heading to his night shift. He encountered a road-raging driver who swerved dangerously, stopped abruptly, aggressively approached him. Remaining calm, Adam dialed 911 and armed himself with his Byrna launcher. He aimed the laser at the aggressor's chest. That de-escalated the situation immediately. The driver returned to his vehicle and awaited the police. The officers confirmed Adam's non-lethal response was perfectly judged. That night, Byrna didn't just prevent a potential tragedy, it saved 2 lives without causing physical harm. Byrna is legal in all 50 states. It requires no background checks. It can be conveniently shipped directly to your door. Over 500,000 units have been sold already. Thank you, Byrna, for sponsoring this video. If you haven't yet, go check out this week's episode of Ben After Dark on Daily Wire Plus, brought to you by Byrna. In other news, the 2025 Major League Baseball season kicked off on Thursday with its ceremonial opening day. This after the Dodgers and Cubs technically played the first 2 regular games of the season in Tokyo, marking the largest standalone international event in the history of the game. With superstars like Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and the newest phenomenon, pitcher Roki Sasaki, now in Major League Baseball, before tariffs, luckily, more than 24 million viewers tuned in. Almost 500,000 people visited a nearby 12-day fan festival. For reference, the Oakland A's had only 11,000 fans per game last season, forcing the team to flee to Las Vegas like a divorced dad. It's ironic the A's were the first team to adapt Moneyball, but ended up making no money. Also, the average attendance for an Atlanta Dream WNBA game last season was 9,807. So, just to be clear, while the media keep telling us the WNBA is a stunning success,
Remember, she's got back-to-back with 20 rebounds. Looking, pursuing. Once again, Reese with the tap, another chance. Reese trying to put it back.
their average attendance was still lower than the average attendance of the Oakland Athletics. More people saw Mania, an ABBA tribute band, play in Germany. But listen, I don't have a lot of room to talk here. I followed the undisputed worst team in baseball, maybe in baseball history. Being a Chicago White Sox fan in 2025 is pretty lonely. Not as lonely as being a Democrat who thinks men aren't women. Sorry, Seth Moulton. I figured rather than focus on the impending torture I'm about to experience all season, we could focus on others' athletic misfortunes. The ceremonial first pitch is a tradition seen in every stadium. I've decided we will honor this brand new season with a countdown of what I consider to be the top 3 worst pitches by a politician. First up, number 3, Mark Mallory. Mark was the 68th mayor of Cincinnati, a Democrat who claimed he trained with the University of Cincinnati baseball team in preparation for the big day, which might say more about that college than the politician. Unless their goal was to kill ants, I do not think the training worked. Here was his roller from opening day 2007.
Just moments ago, Mayor Mark Mallory delivered the first pitch. Eric Davis waiting for it. ED had to almost go to the alley before he could come up with it. The mayor wanted a redo, didn't get it though, Chris.
That's one of the worst opening pitches I've ever seen, man.
No, that was not good. I haven't seen something that off target since Kamala Harris tried to answer a question about the economy.
So, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where it's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work.
That pitch was so bad it hit an umpire, who then threw him out of the game. I'm not even kidding. Now, moving on to number 2, President Obama throwing out the first pitch at the 2010 Washington Nationals home opener. He throws like a girl. I'm sorry, it's just true. Michelle has better pitching for him for whatever reason. And yes, before you try to throw it in my face, I know he's wearing a White Sox hat. I know. But I will say, this is a man who once called Comiskey Field Kaminsky Park, and when asked for his favorite player, said all of them, which is what my wife would say if I asked her, because she doesn't even know what baseball is or how it works. It's hard to admit, but White Sox fandom is apparently one of 2 things we have in common. The other is we're not very good at basketball.
The president, an avid basketball enthusiast, appeared to lose command of his jump shot, missing his first 14 attempts.
Anyway, let's see the pitch. Just terrible. A floater way out of the zone. It's obvious why he wants men to play women's sports. That's the only place that he'd be able to get a job in baseball. I know what you're saying. Presidents aren't athletes. What do you expect? Well, I want to show you what's possible. If you don't remember that, it was actually one of the great moments in modern American history. It was President Bush throwing out a perfect strike before Game 3 of the 2001 World Series in New York just weeks after 9/11. Talk about pressure, and the dude was basically Greg Maddux out there.
Now watch this drive.
All right, it's time to get to number one. It was during the Rod Serling-esque pandemic season of 2020, where teams played in empty stadiums, and the man who forced that to happen was given the chance to throw out the first pitch at the National Yankees game. Ladies and gentlemen, watch Dr. Anthony Fauci socially distance a baseball from the glove.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Terrible. Well, at least he took his shot. From one wild pitch to another, when Democrats weren't obsessing over a group chat this week, they were wondering about the political ideology of a puppet. I don't mean the rally where 35,000 people showed up to hear Bernie Sanders' puppet speak.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us to.
I'm talking about Representative Robert Garcia, Democrat from California, who, during a Doge hearing, embarrassed himself beyond belief while defending the importance of Sesame Street. The House was discussing potential cuts to national public broadcast groups NPR and PBS. You know, because traditional TV is thriving with young people, when Garcia busted out some cardboard visual aids to ask the PBS CEO, Paula Kerger, some questions. In a completely miscalculated attempt at sarcasm, Garcia asked this, with a picture of Elmo behind him.
The American people want to know, is Elmo now, or has he ever been, a member of the Communist Party of the United States? A yes or no?
No.
Now, are you sure, Ms. Kerger? Because he's obviously red.
And by the way, Elmo's a communist. The congressman was writing this idea at home, just really thinking he was killing it, and then the poor aide behind him. Imagine that you get a congressional internship, hoping for a stepping stone into politics, and now you're photocopying pictures of Snuffleupagus for some sort of prop act that would embarrass Carrot Top. And no, Congressman Garcia was not done, not at all.
Now, we know that Health Secretary RFK Jr. is coming out against fast food and baked goods. Are we silencing pro-cookie voters? Yes or no? Ms. Kerger.
But cookies are a sometime food.
I mean, credit to her. She's funnier than he is. This doesn't even make sense. In order for the sarcasm to work, it has to be grounded in some sort of realism, like a pro-cookie voter. That's not a thing. Doesn't exist. Like Ellen Page. But it just kept going.
Now, Ms. Kerger, since Elon Musk actually fired USDA workers who have been working on the bird flu, does it make sense to also fire Big Bird? Yes or no?
We would like to keep Big Bird.
If Big Bird has the bird flu, we should kill him. Right now. Even the PBS lady is thinking this might be stupid. Anyway, he has one more, his big closer.
Now, I will admit, though, the extreme liberal agenda that you're all pushing, I think, doesn't stop there. This, of course, is Bert and Ernie. Now, these two guys actually live together. They're friends. They're supportive of each other. Now, that might be triggering to our chairwoman and some on this committee, and perhaps that's also why we're here today. Ms. Kerger, an important question. Are Bert and Ernie part of an extreme homosexual agenda?
Well, Bert and Ernie aren't gay, but it's hard to convince me that Mr. Noodle is just a silly name. And from there, Garcia just rambled on and on for another minute about how we need to save Elmo and fire Elon. He actually had a poster for that. More virtue signaling, partisan BS, missing the fact this isn't about killing Grover or gluing down the lid on Oscar's trash can, both of which I support, by the way. It's about figuring out what expenses are essential for a nation that is, $37 trillion in debt. Do we need Abby Cadabby counting to 5, or the kooks of NPR calmly telling us about the advantages of using grapeseed oil in our coffee on the taxpayer dime? Who knows? I'll let Doge and the spending committee figure that out. But to make a show out of the process is really, really sophomoric. And so is today's letter. S, as in stupid or silly or stop. Because we need to stop now. Because otherwise, I just can't. We'll see you next week on an all-new Ben After Dark.